Welcome back to another election analysis video. If you could take a moment to please subscribe and help me grow my platform, I would really appreciate it. But anyways, today we are about exactly 1 month away from election day next month, and I've got to say, this race looks like it could not be any closer. If you look at many of the forecasts, this race is basically a coin toss, with many election predictors and forecasts having no candidate having over a 5% chance over the other of victory. I mean, just look at this. Look how close the margin is. Because of that, I've decided to make this video to do my own perspective and my own forecast on what the election would look like based on my own intuition and perception of the polls and momentum of each candidate. So, without further ado, let's get started. So, right now, the state of the race is really weird. It looks like Trump has a lot of momentum. He's traveling to California later this week to do a rally in Coachella, which is really weird because, actually, wait, here, let me zoom in, okay. Which is really weird because wouldn't you think that since California is a solid blue state that he would be more focused in campaigning in the swing states? Well, yeah, that's true, but he's very confident with his prospects because right now the polls are super close. If we go to RCP, we can see that Donald Trump is within a point in each of the swing states or leading them. And because of that, since he remembers how much he outperformed the polls in 2020, he feels very confident in his prospects of winning, which is why he's visiting solid states now to focus on winning the House and winning the popular vote as well. Now, whether or not that strategy will work, we'll have to wait and see, but it is interesting to see how the dynamic of the race is unfolding on the Republican side. Now, regarding the Democrat side of the race, it's looking good for Kamala too in some ways. Right now, according to this poll from Newsweek, Kamala Harris is leading Trump, or at least getting a boost in her numbers among key issues such as the economy. Now, obviously, she had other winning issues on her side, such as democracy and reproductive rights. But the economy was typically an issue that Republicans and Donald Trump usually did better on compared to the Democrats in head-to-head polling. And the fact that Kamala Harris is doing much better on the key issue of the economy really says a lot of how well her platform is among the American people. And we can see here that according to a GOP firm, Kamala Harris is up in Nevada according to this poll that was done in the state of Nevada. Now, Nevada isn't really an important state, at least compared to many of the other swing states, because it only has 6 electoral votes. But it has a lot of key demographics and in terms of, its large working class populace and large Hispanic populace that could help analyze the numbers here. We can probably get an idea of how these key demographics will vote not only in Nevada, but across the whole US. So anyways, let me stop talking and let's get on with filling out the map. So before I started this video, I had already filled out the map with what I consider to be solid states that either candidate would win by about double digits or more. Now, you can argue about the margins or whatever, but it's safe to say that these states will vote for their winning candidate by roughly a safe margin, and there's no debate about it. Obviously, other than these states, there are some pretty clean-cut states that we can divide into either the Republican or Democrat category. Based off of the 538 election forecast, I'm going to fill out my election map based on all of the states that are projected to go to a candidate by 4 points or more. And if we start doing that, we can see that a lot of big states help increase the Republicans' floor as well as the Democrats' floor, but not as much as the Republicans, since before they did not have as high of a floor as the Democrats. So here you go. Here's the map filled out with the districts and states where the Republicans will win by 4 points or more. And now let's start filling out the states and districts for the Democrats. Now, again, you can argue about the margins. I put them all as the safe color, but in reality, some states are going to be much closer than others. But I mean, if we're being honest, this is a pretty clear idea of how the country's going to vote for no matter what the election outcome is, no matter who the winner is. Oh wait, here, let me also color Virginia. Okay, now here is what the country will look like regardless of who wins the big 7 swing states. All right, so now let's start analyzing each of the big 7 swing states one by one. And the first one I'd want to talk about is Nevada. So the reason why I'm going to classify Nevada as Democrat is because of this GOP firm that is talking about how much Democrat support is increasing in Nevada. Now, I know it's just one poll, but it's definitely a good indication of where the race is at now compared to previous polling. We can see here on RCP, which is another right-wing leaning pollster, that Democrats are also ahead in the state of Nevada. And it's actually the most left-leaning swing state out of all of the big 7 swing states according to RCP's polling average. And because of that, I feel pretty confident in saying Nevada is going to vote Democrat, at least at this point in the race. And that's not to mention the abortion ballot that they're going to have later this year. We could see here, according to this article, that Nevada and Arizona, but we'll get to that in a second, that they are going to have abortion on the November ballot, which I think will help drive up Democrat turnout, just like it did in states such as Kansas and Ohio. And now we move on to the state of Arizona, which I will also classify as Democrat, even though it is the most right-wing leaning state according to RCP. And because of that, even though it's the most right-leaning swing state regarding polling on RCP, Trump is leading by not that much, 1.4%. I mean, that's definitely within the margin of error. Anything could happen. Because of that, I am going to put it in the Democratic category because I really am confident in my belief that the abortion ballot will help drive up Democratic turnout and help Kamala in that state. On the other hand, let's go to some states that I feel like Trump could win pretty handily. Or not handily, but I feel confident he'll win. And the first is Georgia. And the reason I believe he will win Georgia is because, along with being tied with Arizona, Georgia is the most right-wing leaning state in polling for Donald Trump, with him polling the same there as he is in Arizona. But the reason why I do think Trump is going to win in Georgia compared to Arizona is because ever since 2020, he's been holding rally after rally in Georgia, and you could see how large they are. And since there's not going to be any strong ballots to drive up left-wing turnout, I do believe that nothing is standing in his way from taking back Georgia. And another state I think he's going to take is North Carolina. A lot of people are saying that Donald Trump could potentially lose North Carolina because the Republican nominee for governor there, Mark Robinson, his campaign is imploding, and it looks like the Democrat governor nominee, Josh Stein, has a clean path to victory. But the truth is, there's no such thing as reverse coattails, as many people like to say, at least in my perception of analyzing previous elections. And because of that, I do feel confident in saying that he will win again in North Carolina this election cycle. And now we are left with probably the three most important swing states of this election cycle, the Rust Belt states, Wisconsin, Michigan, and Pennsylvania. And right off the bat, I'm going to say that I think Donald Trump is going to lose Wisconsin and Michigan to Kamala Harris. I do think the election is going to come down to one of these states, but at the end of the day, I do think that Kamala Harris is clearly advantaged in at least two of them because she is leading in the polls by almost a whole percentage point in both of the swing states. Like, look, you can see right here. And because RCP is already a right-leaning website, the fact that Kamala Harris is still leading, I think says a lot about her strength in those states. And because of that, I feel pretty confident in saying Kamala Harris will win those two states. And that's not to mention how much the Democrats outperformed in those two states in the 2022 midterms. And yeah, you can say that, oh, if you're talking about 2022, then what about Republican Senator candidate Ron Johnson, who won re-election in Wisconsin? And yeah, that's true, but you have to remember that Democrat Governor Tony Evers won re-election in Wisconsin, as well as Gretchen Whitmer, the Democratic governor from Michigan, winning re-election by over 10 percentage points. So it's hard for me to see that happening and Kamala Harris not winning the state, at least at this point in the election. But again, I cannot emphasize enough, she's leading these states by less than half a percentage point. If we're being honest with ourselves and having an honest conversation, anything could happen. She just has a slight advantage at this point in time. And now the last state, good old Pennsylvania. You have been driving everyone crazy this whole election cycle. Well, if I'm going to be honest with you guys, I have no idea how this state's going to vote. Yeah, I know this is a goofy way to end an election prediction video, but it's the truth. I'm not going to lie to you guys and give you a fake prediction. If we look at many of the election forecasts, we could see that literally most people don't even know how this state is going to vote. Like, let's look at the Hill's prediction. It's literally 50-50. Now, if we go to places like Polymarket, they're a little bit more confident that Donald Trump is going to win 56-44. But, I don't trust Polymarket as much because they mostly just judge momentum, not really, how likely a candidate is to win an election. But the point I'm trying to make is that this election in this state is really, really close, and it's really hard for me to make an honest argument as to why either candidate can win. Even 538, which is arguably a left-leaning website, they have the state at basically a 50-50. I mean, we could see here that really no candidate has an advantage over the other. So because of that, I mean, I guess I'll give it to Trump. Actually, even then, I don't know. Because, again, the polling has been so close. I'm probably just going to leave it blank for this video because I really don't see any candidate having a clear argument as to why they'll win there. But anyways, guys, there you guys have the video. This is my current election with 1 month to go until election day, 28 days. So thank you guys so much for watching. I really appreciate you guys helping me grow my platform, and I hope you guys have a nice day. Thank you and goodbye.